Well, hello, everybody. It's Dr. Sasheen. We're back. Sorry. Um, we're back. So I'm Dr. Sasheen. This is my Women in Transition, where I'm talking to Gen X women who are ready to make a transition to the next phase of their life while leaving some of that baggage behind that we just don't need to take with us anymore. Welcome to the party. It's been a few days since I had a chance to be here, so I hope this video finds you well. And I want to talk about financial news. So, when a certain election happened, um, the talk about tariffs and the price of things really became um, loud. The cacophony of noise around tariffs and price of eggs. Ooh, the price of eggs, which they're not going to come down, but I digress. The ripple effects in an economy with each administration are pretty standard, but there are certain times when the ripple effects in an economy from either a presidential election, a global pandemic, war, certain big events can push an economy to its breaking point, and we get a recession, and sometimes we get a depression. The last time we had a major recession was the Great Recession of 2007, 2009. However, we did dip into a mini recession during the 2020 year, which should come as no shock since the entire world suddenly shut down, given the virulence of the COVID 19 issue. I lived in New York. So, yeah. Anyway, so why am I talking about this? Because recessions happen. Recessions happen a little more frequently than we might actually realize. And sometimes they're small, like 2020 only really lasted for a year. The one before that, 2007, 2009, that was 3 years. It was pretty it was pretty deep. I was at the tail end of my PhD program, and what had once been a cornucopia of jobs on the market for the new professors suddenly dwindled significantly, and we found ourselves wondering if we would even get jobs because a lot of funding was halted because the economy was tanking. Before that, there have been various um, recessions. And then obviously we had the Great Depression, which impacted the country for a significant period of time. And then there are global recessions that happen that we may or may not feel as keenly in the United States, but do happen around us. What does all that mean for you? I want you to, first of all, I'm going to keep saying this, turn off everything that does not bring you peace. If you want to know how the markets are doing, read market driven news and engage in market driven media. Do not go on TikTok, TikTok or Facebook or Instagram. God, get off Instagram. Um, or even Blue Sky or Threads, and follow around people whom you do not know their bona fides. If you don't know that they're actual people who are economists who are talking about the economy in a way that is grounded in some research and some science, and they're giving you information that you can use, or even if they're giving you just information that might be a bit stress inducing, at least know that they know what they're talking about. Don't follow every Tom, Dick, Harry, and Jason who puts financial advisor in their name but doesn't even know what a Series 7 is, right? Like, I want you to stop clicking the bait. Stop clicking the bait. If you want to know how the economy is doing, follow the economy. Follow the people who follow the economy. I loved understanding space and what's going on with new endeavors surrounding space and science. I follow scientists. You're here because you are women who are passionate about living your best next chapter, and you want to leave some stuff behind. So we're in this together. We're the experts on that because it's our lives. So when you hear all the hyperbole about tariffs and the industries it's going to impact, and our egg's going to go up, and our egg's going to go down, and will groceries get better? And what about manufacturing? And what about China? And what about Panama Canal? And going to war with Mexico? And Canada's up there having to answer the blah 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 from the who. Here's what I want you to focus on. You can recession proof your money by maximizing your skills. We are a generation that understands how to pivot when we need to and to be successful in the process because we've lived through some things. The reason I started out talking about the number of recessions that have happened is because we've lived through all of them. We've survived them all. We're right here, right now, on the other side of all of those recessions. So if the world is heading towards another recession, we got this, okay? You just got to remember that we're of an age now where we can actually do some big things to help recession proof our lives. Now, there are 7 big industries that I'm going to talk about that are recession depression proof. I did the research and I dug into these industries. They just keep on kicking. like, they just keep on surviving. And I talk to people who are in these industries and they all say the same thing, which is even when the money feels tight, these things just don't really go away. And I want to make sure to tell you that if you have a job that you love and it's not in one of these industries and you think that you're safe, just look historically as what has happened to your industry. The data's out there. You can see for yourself whether or not you should stay or whether it might be time to pivot before there's a problem. Okay. If you're a drop shipper on Amazon right now and you've been counting on China for your cheap goods, you might need to start thinking about sourcing your stuff from someplace else. If you're a manufacturer of something that requires plastics, you might start thinking about how to source your plastics from someplace else, right? So there are things that we need to think about before we slide into a recession. Now, the indicators have been that we're kind of treading a little bit of water here because we are technically between administrations, and there's a lot of, again, wah from the who. Until the who takes office and things begin to shake out, it's going to be hard to see exactly what the economy is going to do. The stock market's going this way and Bitcoin's going this way, but what goes up must come down, right? So the 7 industries that I want to talk to you about are not the stock market. They are not Bitcoin. They are not MLMs. Let me take a bit of a tangent and go this way for just a second. In a recession, in times of economic or political or emotional heightened sensitivity and scaredness and fear, the vultures will come out. Now, if you are part of a multi-level marketing organization, I am not talking to you, but I am talking about your industry. The industry of the MLM is a pyramid, and the only people that make money in the pyramid are at the top. Please don't come and tell me that one. I'm just in Mary Kay for the cosmetics. That's great. That's fine. Um, you're not in it to make any money, then don't make any money. But unfortunately, people get into them when they're in a period of scarcity because the promise is that you're going to make money. If you can just sell these products, you're going to make money. And what you learn when you get into them is that it's not the selling of the products that actually makes you the money, it's the recruiting of people to sell the products that makes the money. That is where it stops being a product-based business that you own to a pyramid scheme that you are now a part of. Because when you start removing people, the pyramid collapses. And the people at the bottom are always going to get flattened. So before you start saying, well, can I just sell? And I mean, I'm not saying that we haven't all been tempted by the siren song of Pampered Chef or Amway or Monet or Promerica or any of them that promise big returns if you can just get in there and sell. What I'm telling you is this. In a recession, or even the hint of a recession, there are industries which don't have to pivot hard because they're already well positioned to be successful because they're necessary, because people simply need them. And because they simply need them, they're always going to be okay. Which is why people who start these kinds of businesses in these industries tend to be able to weather the storms that come with an up and down economy, no matter where it happens in the globe. Now, within these industries, there are going to be some questions that have to be answered, such as if the issue of plastics becomes really an issue, a question that we have to answer. Ergo, most of our plastic in the United States anyway does not get manufactured in the United States. And that's a lot of plastic for everything. And I mean everything. The majority of that doesn't come from here. If we get into a tariff war or a trade war with countries that supply us that plastic, every industry is going to feel that. Some industries, however, are going to be able to bounce back more quickly because of the nature of what they do. They're going to get the help to keep doing it that other industries are simply not going to get, which is an opportunity. It slides in and says, hey, do you have a skill set in this area that you maybe could turn into a small business that might grow into an even bigger business as time wears on? I think that you probably do. You know why? Because small businesses on average are started by individuals between the ages of about 35 and 54. Hi, y'all. Good to see you. And because of that, because we're most likely to start new businesses, I want to talk to you now on the cusp of the new changes that might be coming to this country, I'm in the USA, and to the world. Remember, Canada's talking. Canada never talks. Canada's talking. Mexico is pushing back. Panama is pushing back. The world is changing. Can your skill set help you get in to a door that may not have appeared to be open before, but it's going to open soon? Can what you have accumulated in life experiences, education, your own business sense over the past 30, 40, 50, 60 years position you to slide into a new industry and make a mint and recession proof your money? I think that answer is yes. I'm here to tell you the 7 industries. Now, there are more than 7, but there are only a lists vary, but these 7 showed up on every list, and lists are usually no more than about 15 because they encompass a lot of stuff, okay? But every industry doesn't survive in a recession. Y'all look at the folks who are panicked about TikTok going away, the potential TikTok ban, and the closing of a TikTok shop. When your business is predicated on the social media app not going away, and that has become 90% of where your sales come from, to the point where you have forgotten to diversify anywhere else, that is a problem and not smart business. Let me tell you something. There are a lot of women on TikTok who have businesses making a killing in TikTok shop who are in the industries that I'm going to talk about. Excuse me. Hang on a second. I have a cold still. Who know how to diversify their marketing, their public relations, their business so that they're not dying should one platform go away. I'm on YouTube. YouTube is my platform, my go-to platform for where I'm building my community, where I'm selling my business, where I'm building my business. But I'm fully aware that if YouTube goes away, I got plans B, C, and D. All right, so enough with that. The first thing I want you to think about right now is, what are you good at? Are you a good organizer, administrator, excuse me, project management, construction skills? Like, what are you really good at? What are your skills? I know you've got them. You know you've got them. You've worked enough jobs. You have enough education. All you might be lacking is a business plan. That's it. But chances are you're in an industry, or you know of industries, you've heard the rumbles, like, there's shortages in these industries, and these industries are always looking for people, and this industry always seems to be around no matter what. There's a reason for that, because the first big one we're going to talk about, let me just slide into it, is healthcare. Healthcare is an industry that is always going to weather a recession or depression because we just can't live without it. We simply can't. There's a shortage of nurses right now. There's a shortage of doctors. There's a shortage of all kinds of people in healthcare. And yet this machine just keeps right on chugging. Just keeps right on going. We keep putting people in the hospitals and taking them back out. Doctors' offices may be closing, but some are opening. So in the healthcare industry, you want to think about not just doctors and nurses. Excuse me, this cough is trying to come out, y'all. Not just doctors and nurses and CNAs, but everybody, the equipment, the sheets, the sterilization devices. This is a massive industry, and it just gets bigger, not smaller. If you track healthcare growth in terms of what they spend, we're not talking about premiums. Okay. Not talking about health insurance. I'm talking about the healthcare industry, hospitals, doctor's office, nurses, PAs, CNAs, RNs, LPNs, techs, radiologists, all the specializations. You have all the people, but then you also have all the stuff, y'all. All the stuff necessary to keep hospitals running, doctors' offices running, records, like all the IT section alone in healthcare runs like a well-oiled machine, keeping track of patients, keeping track of paper, keeping track of diagnoses. Y'all are thinking, oh, well, they're just scribbling on pieces of paper that get fed into systems, that gets into pharmacies, that gets into insurance companies, right? So this whole industry grows. When the economy contracts, people may not get elective care, but they're going to get their health care. They're going to get it. It's an interesting phenomenon that you would think the way insurance works, at least in the United States, that we wouldn't go to the hospital. But what all that happens is that we use the emergency room as opposed to going to the doctor's office. We just use the emergency room as our primary care, especially when we fall in economic time, harder economic times. But the industry itself is one of the most lucrative industries to be in if you can get into it in a way that allows you to maximize your skill set and minimize your overhead. Now, there are a lot of ways to do that, and I can't go into that in this video because this video is, I like to keep them short, but I think we could dive more into this. And if you want to hear more about that, I'll definitely do more individual videos. But I want you to start thinking, if you're in the healthcare field right now, if you work in it in any way, look around you. Where are your coders? Are they working from home? Your medical coding people, are they working from home? Because those people, they're still there. Where are your records technicians? Are they working from home? Who's keeping the records? Is it all, are you still keeping them in office? Are you storing them somewhere? You see what I'm saying? When you start to think about the many ways that healthcare, the industry, is kept running, the machine that is that industry is kept running, it should make sense that it doesn't collapse during a recession or a depression, because all of those things still have to be done. And people are still going to pay for them, regardless of whether or not they have 2 coins or 10. They're still going to pay for them because none of us can afford to get sick. And we all want to be better and healthy. Industry number 2, water break, is real estate. This one can sometimes be met with a little bit of, if I have money to buy real estate, I'd buy. I get it. I get what you're saying. But I'm talking to a group of people who've worked on their jobs for a while, who might even own their own home or be in a position to have an ability to invest in real estate. Invest in real estate. And again, the real estate industry will see some shaving of people, but we're not making any more land, y'all. We're not making any more of it. In fact, because of climate change, we're losing some of it. So land is always something that is being moved from place to place, from person to person, selling and buying, selling and buying. And because of that, it doesn't matter if it's a recession or a depression. I got to have someplace to live. I need someplace to put my house on. That doesn't go away. So if you're in the real estate industry, think about all of the pieces of the puzzle that are required to do business in this industry, from the underwriters to the real estate agents to the inspectors. None of that goes away. People don't stop buying houses. They don't stop buying houses. They don't stop renting apartments. They don't stop DIYing it. If you are a Home Depot or Lowe's, a big box store, you're not going to see a big dip. In fact, you're probably going to see a bit of an increase because more folks are going to try and DIY those home repairs as opposed to call that a handyman that they might have called before. If you look at the trends, those kind of stores do very, very well in a recession. What if you owned a little corner store? Because, those have kind of gone away and we're all mad at the big box stores these days. If you work in the real estate industry, or you service the real estate industry in any way, look around you. I guarantee you that you will see many opportunities to slide your foot into a door that may not be open yet, but it's going to start cracking open as people start getting a little tighter with their belt, wanting to know how to do things more on their own, or who've got that disposable income and are going to be looking for some secondary properties to pick up, some things to flip to give them some rental properties. There's so much there. And that's why it weathers most downturns in the economy, because land is finite and people will pay for land. And around real estate are so many other industries that just continue to get fed regardless of what the economy is doing. Okay, number 3. Okay, I'm gonna get this done in 30 minutes. Watch me. Maybe 35. We'll see. Education. In a recession, in a downturn in the economy, the hint of a downturn in the economy sends people back to school in waves. So if you've ever had a desire to get into education, and again, I'm in education, I was a college professor, I still am. What you see is that the waves of students change depending on how the economy is doing. More older students come back to school looking for retraining, especially if they've been laid off. Younger students are coming, or younger people are coming to college um, to get their first degree. But it's not just higher education, it's also K through 12. It's private education, it's public education, it's school buses. It's all the things around education. Now, I know, I know there are rumbles. There's want from who talking about dismantling the Department of Education. I get it. But let me explain to you why that rumor is actually not a big deal for anyone who gets into education. Regardless of what happens at that level, we still have to educate a lot of people. And there are not enough educators to go around. So for every one school that closes, there's 300 students that now need someplace to get educated. Private schools pop up, private tutoring pop up. All of those things around education aren't just going to go away because parents still have to work. And the only way for the parents to work is to send kids to school. And so someone has to teach those kids. Buildings have to be there to teach them. Teachers have to be there to teach them. Equipment, supplies. And that is from K through postdoctorate and everything in between. And so the education sector is another that actually seems to expand during a recession, depression, not contract. There might be shakeouts of certain things that aren't as important, but the industry itself, that's where places like Udemy and Teachable and all of those course sites do really well because they understand that in an economic downturn, people start looking for skills that they can acquire to get them a job so they don't become part of the masses who aren't able to work. And so there they are, whole platforms full of classes that you can take from the comfort of your own home. Do you have the next Udemy? Are you going to start a small private school? Do you have a desire to start a tutoring service or buy a tutoring franchise? Those things, they don't retract, they expand. All right, automotive repair shop. My car, twice in the past week. So not only is my family recovering from sickness, my car decides to break down in a week. It's been a hard holiday. Automotive repair shops have a shortage right now of master technicians. I know this from firsthand experience. It's not fun. But they have a shortage of master technicians. They have a shortage of a lot of things. And that works in their favor. They're not shutting down in a recession because people's cars break down. And I don't know about you, I have zero clue how to read the diagnostic blah, 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 because I don't have the machine to plug in the doohickey to read the computer to tell them what's wrong with the car. Because cars are not built to last anymore, the automotive repair industry is always going to continue to expand because technicians have to be able to read the car and understand how to fix the car and then get the parts to fix the car. So just like with healthcare and real estate and education, automotive repair shops are part of a bigger industry. They feed a bigger industry that they need to get stuff from so that they can continue to fix your cars. And that stuff yields other industries, other possible places where you can dip your toe in and make a decent living during a recession. Because again, when our cars break down, we're not leaving them on the side of the road. And I'm going to be real with you. People may not pay their car payment, but they're going to get their car fixed. Period. That's not me. My car's paid off. But I'm just being real with you. And because they're more likely to get that car fixed, then leave it on the side of the road to be scrapped. They're going to be looking for parts, someone to fix it, someone to tow it. Ladies, how many of you have had to get the car towed and you hoped and prayed that the person coming to get that car from you was just going to be all business and that's that, right? What if you started your very own tow company and you staffed it with women? Just some possibilities. The automotive repair industry feeds a lot of industries that don't collapse in a recession. They simply don't. Because I don't know about you, but if my car's in a ditch, I don't know anybody that can pull it out except a tow truck driver. That's it. So I'm going to get on the phone to my insurance company and I'm going to have them figure out a tow truck driver for where I am, and they're going to send it to come and get me. Industry that's not going to collapse. Next, childcare and pet care. Now I group these two things together because they're a service industry that is people driven, right? Pet sitters, childcare, daycares, in-home nannies, whatever the case may be, in-home pet sitters, pet boarding. I spoke to a practitioner in the field of pet care, and she said to me, in a recession, people take care of their pets. Pet care is huge. And again, I want to draw your attention to the breadth of things that go into childcare and pet care. Childcare alone is $1 billion industry. Some people spend a mortgage payment on what they for childcare every month, right? A mortgage payment for one or two kids to go to that's if they send them to daycare. They could choose to keep them home and hire an in-home nanny. That's just watching the child. Clothes, shoes, formula, diapers, pumps, bottles, car seats, strollers, wet wipes, napkins, doctor's visits, medications, shampoos, conditioners, supplements, you name it. That's just childcare. Pets get all the same thing, right? Like we are a nation that loves our pets just as much as we love our children. And so pet care, daycare, doctor's visits, clothes, food, toys. Oh my God, the toys, exercise, dog walkers and pet sitters so that we can go to work, and so that our camera systems, equipment, monitoring devices, so many different ways in these two industries, these two sister industries. And I call them sister industries because there's so much that happens in childcare that we also do in pet care. We don't want to think about it that way, but a doggy daycare is just a kid daycare for dogs. That's all it is. And it's just as expensive sometimes. But you can get more dogs in the room and not as many kids. But it is the same thing. The same concept exists. And around these two childcare, pet care people that you hire to watch your child or walk your pet are these industries. Massive amounts of moving parts that tend to not go away because in a recession, people still have to go to work. In fact, they have to work more. And they need people to help them manage and navigate childcare and pet care. Okay, last two. Next are grocery stores. Now, I hear you saying, Dr. Sasheen, I do not want to open a grocery store. Okay, maybe a corner store. Because we need stuff. We just do. And in a recession, people tend to shop. They don't eat out as much, right? They tend to go to the grocery stores. So we're always needing places, especially if you live far from the grocery store or you don't have access to one like within 5 or 10 minutes. We always need places to go get the milk, the eggs, the butter, the whatever, which is why 7-Elevens and Quick Trips and Casey's all spring up and do really well in a recession. It just is what it is. People have got to eat. And sometimes they don't have the money to go shop at the grocery store, but they'll go down to the corner store and get milk and eggs. Even if it's cheap milk and eggs, they'll still get it because that's what they need. So grocery stores are a recession-proof business if you're not giving all your inventory away because you're just a big-hearted person. But even if you are, there are some, and there are some overhead issues here with holding product that you don't have in other cases. but it is an industry that requires a lot of moving parts. Again, you notice this moving part thing that I'm talking about? That's what helps these particular industries, and of the 15, all of them stay recession proof. You don't get groceries in the grocery store without trucks on the road. You don't get trucks on the road without somebody manufacturing something somewhere and getting into the truck. You don't get somebody manufacturing something somewhere without farmers and artisans and people to make it and package it and put it together. And so you've got all this stuff, right? Here we go again. Where could you insert yourself, whether as worker or owner, employer or entrepreneur? Where can you insert yourself in the flows of these industries and buffer yourself against recession? Because that's what we're talking about. And the last one's a little morbid, not gonna lie, but the funeral industry always survives a recession and depression because there's never not work in the funeral industry. I have a cousin who actually was in the funeral industry. She's not anymore, but it is one of the career paths or industries where you're guaranteed work. Like, healthcare and funeral industries are guaranteed work. Period. No matter what, there are always going to be people who have to be laid to rest, and there are always going to be things around. Again, thinking about the ways in which industry works. So you have the funeral industry, which is fed by other industries that have the things that they need. Embalming fluids, if that's what you're going to do, crematoriums, the buildings, coffins, caskets, whatever you want to call them, the services themselves, flower vendors, like all of these things, because no one's going to have a funeral without flowers. No one does that. Even your bare bones basic funeral is going to have flowers at it. So somewhere, some florist attached to a funeral home is like, I'm good, because we're burying somebody every week. And I'm not trying to be morbid or make light of death, but death is a part of life. It is as natural as breathing, unfortunately. And in a recession, people don't stop dying, and we're not burying anybody in the family plot anymore or in the backyard. And so every one of these 7 industries that I've been talking about all feed other industries out of them and into them. And so if you start thinking about your skill set and what you can do, ask yourself, can you position yourself into an industry that has historically weathered the ups and downs of all kinds of economies and still come out kicking and still come out strong and still come out not just surviving during it, but thriving? Because we might go back to mowing our own lawns, hence why you wouldn't go into landscaping necessarily. We might wash our own cars, so maybe we won't be visiting the local car wash. But I'm not changing my own oil. I'm not fixing my flat out on the road. I'm not going to draw my own blood. So I need to have blood drawn. I'm going to go to the doctor's office. I'm going to go to the lab. There are so many things that we simply cannot stop doing because that's just life. And because we cannot stop doing them, the best that we can do is think about, if the world continues to skyrocket into expensive whatever because of policies or whatever, what industries weather that and come out better? And can I get in there either as an employee or, my favorite, as business owner? That's it. If you have any questions or you want to hear more about what this list covered or where I got this information, please leave me a comment. I'd love to chat with you about where you might see yourself fitting in. Are you in a career? Have you thought about starting a business and you wondered what you could do or how you could do it? Have you thought to yourself, I'd love to be a little more secure with what's coming and potentially even do better than I have in the past? Could you see yourself in one of these industries if you're not already? And if you are in one of these industries, can you see how you can make yourself an even better player or bigger player so that you can not just recession-proof your money, but maximize you and grow it at the same time? All kinds of questions to answer. If you like what you heard, please click like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.